Cloud.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
The actual meeting is going to be in the Trinity Ballroom. Is that where it's going to be?
Oh, yes, sir. Look on your Yap
Yeah,
app.
I saw
Yeah, yeah.
that.
I
Hmm.
I believe so. I'm gonna look here now. Hold on for just a minute. Let me look at the program. I've looked at it many times, but let me look again. Um, Trinity Ballroom. That's where everything's happening at. The concessions will be in the Trinity Exhibit Hall. And yes, the ballroom.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm going to go back to sharing now that I've recorded. Okay. Now we've already done this before. I wanted to do it at the beginning. So real quick, I want to take a poll and I want to see, I'll get your feedback on the Yap app. Give me just a second here. Here we go. I'm going to launch it. Two questions. One, have you downloaded the CMEGC Yap app? And question number two, is the Yap app easy for you to use? We have 7380 participants on the Zoom meeting or in the Zoom meeting. And I'll give you another minute to answer, please. This helps us. All right, 60 of our 80 participants have, or 79, have answered. 66 now, which is great. One more minute. Come on, you can do it. Okay. We have 70 participants. All righty. That's good. Good showing. 99%. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. So, first question, have you downloaded the Yap app? 99% of you said yes, 70%. And the second question, is the Yap app easy for you to use? 99% said yes. Good job. I'm going to share the results. You should be able to see it. So that's great. I am so glad that it's easy to use, and that was one of the reasons why we selected it. But also, it's been used in other conferences, particularly in the Seventh Episcopal District, and they have been using it for years. So good. All right. So we're going to move forward now. Thank you for filling out that poll. Okay, let's go here and get back to sharing my screen. All right. So the next is another way in case some persons weren't able to download it for some reason or another. There's a couple of things that I can do. You can use that QR code there. There's a link there if you had it on your mobile phone. And of course, I can also send an email or a text message to the phone that you're using, and you will automatically pick it up. So there's several ways how our members can uh, download the Yap app. Okay, just a reminder that we have two more training sessions after this one. Our next training session will be um, actually June 2nd, and it's over here in the ad, but it's not here in that date. So it's next Tuesday, same time. And then Sunday, June 7th, is the very last time that we will have this training session. Okay. And I am pleased to announce that we heard your requests to offer parliamentary procedure training for delegates and alternates. And following this session, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, parliamentary procedures training will be offered in partnership again with the College of Bishops, the General Department of Communication and Information Technology, and the General Department of Lay Ministries. The facilitator for these two training sessions will be none other than our own Dr. Barbara C. Campbell, who is president of the Connectional Lay Council. And you don't have to leave this session. We're using the same ID meeting ID as and passcode, so you can just stay on, and Dr. Campbell will be on to offer her training as well. And there's the parliamentary procedure training agenda. So it's going to be part one this week, following this session, and part two next Tuesday, June 2nd, following the Yapp app and voting training. Okay, so we heard you, and uh, training will be delivered, which is going to be great. Okay, so now this portion of the before I move forward, are there any questions on the Yap app? Any questions that you might have? Any issues or concerns? Hearing none. If you have any, you're welcome to put your questions in the chat, and I will uh, address it. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the speaker queue system and voting at the General Conference. And we finished the training on the Yap app. And so now, as we move into electronic voting, training on electronic voting at the General Conference, we want to ensure that our delegates and alternates are truly informed about the speaker queue system as well as voting using electronic devices. The speaker queue system and electronic voting devices are shown on the screen. On the left is the speaker queue system, and then on the right is the option finder electronic voting device. We're using the same vendor that was used rather at the 2022 General Conference in Cincinnati, as well as the 2018 General Conference in Birmingham, Alabama. And the vendor is Option Technologies. Option Technologies. The speaker queue system, as you see on the screen, again, it will be used at the General Conference. And the speaker queue system is basically a suite of just web-based software tools that works with computers, tablets, and smartphones to help the chairperson of the meeting, which is one of our bishops, as they're presiding over the meeting. It's to help the chair manage multiple requests to speak. The speaker queue system will capture, timestamp, and effectively manage multiple requests to speak so that each request is properly addressed in priority order and the debate process is fair and orderly. Of training and handouts along with Robert's Rules of Order, of course, is following this session, but it's also going to be made available on site to our leaders, our delegates, alternates, orderlies, and CIT members to ensure that the system is user friendly and easy to use. Now, there is going to be a session following, um, actually a video following the screenshots that I have here of the speaker queue system as well as the voting devices. But if you can recall, if you've been a delegate and alternate, on your badges, there were um, numbers, 6 to 8 digit numbers that were on your badges. This time it will be 6 digit number. And when you wish to speak or go to the mic and address the motion that might be on the floor or participate in the process, then you would go to the mic um, or the iPad that's on the floor, and we'll see that a little bit later, and you would select one of the um, one of the items that you're there to speak for a motion, maybe speak against a motion. You might want to call a point of order, motion to amend, move or second a main motion, move the previous question, move to refer, table, postpone. Um, might want to ask for parliamentary inquiry or information, point of privilege, to suspend the rules, call for the order of the day. Once you select the um, item that you're there to address, then you will click on submit my request to speak. Voting at the General Conference, again, we'll be using electronic handsets to register our votes quickly and accurately. This system has been selected to expedite the voting process, which involves electing candidates for bishops, general officers, and the Judicial Council. They will have assigned numbers, and of course, voting will also be on motions and amendments. Of course, Option Finder polling system will help facilitate the meeting using wireless voting keypads and balloting exercises. The wireless keypads will be used for all, throughout the voting process. And we'll work with the election chair and senior Bishop Reddick. And by voting electronically, we will be able or should be able to reduce the amount of time involved in making important selections and increasing the accuracy of the balloting process. Most important, all votes will remain private. This is a sample of the Episcopal candidates and their assigned voting numbers from the 2022 General Conference. And in the video later, you'll see how voting is conducted using these particular voting numbers. Here again is the voting keypad, and these are the devices. And I took a picture of my annual conference at the last General Conference, Alaska Pacific Region, where the orderlies were distributing the keypads to the various annual conferences. And so that, again, the orderlies will be doing that as well. So with that in mind, I am going to show a video, which is the request to speak system speaking instructions. In order to conduct business meeting sessions decently and in order, the delegates and alternates will have a process for engaging in discussion on the floor, again called the request to speak system or the speaker queue system. Of course, following parliamentary procedure according to Robert's Rules of Order. And then we also have the electronic system for voting. The video that you will hear shortly has been prepared by our vendor Option Technologies regarding the speaker queue system and electronic voting. And they've made it, they've used a lot of the slides from our previous meetings, and they've blended it in with some other videos from other Methodist conferences that they have, um, been at. And the AME, AME Zion, and of course the CME Church and the United Methodist Church has used optionist technology. So here we are with the video.
During the General Conference business session,
Please
delegates will use a
mute
speaker
your
request system to signal to the presiding bishop when they wish to participate in the debate. The
I am
system
going to
will
stop
allow
this
the
for just a
presiding
minute.
bishop.
I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to mute
I'll have to ask and see how it works out, but
everyone
whatever.
needs to hear.
Check with Yvonne and see, because it is a lot going on, and I was concerned about that. And I thought about, well, maybe.
I'm going to ask you to remain muted during this presentation. I will start it again.
See all requests and
See if I can stop it. Okay. All righty. Let me go back to sharing. Now we'll just start over again.
During the General Conference business session,
Let me make sure you can hear it. Let me stop sharing one last time. I'm hearing it. I'm not hearing it through my speakers. Okay. All right. Third time should be do the trick.
during the General Conference business session, delegates will use a speaker request system to signal to the presiding bishop when they wish to participate in the debate. The system will allow the presiding bishop to see all requests and recognize delegates with different types of requests using parliamentary rules of order. When a delegate wishes to speak, you will use an iPad on a floor stand located near your seat to signal your request. It's a simple three-step process. First, you will identify yourself by entering the delegate number on your name badge and confirm your name. Second, you'll select the purpose of your speech from the list of items on the screen. For example, you may wish to speak for an item. You may wish to speak against an item. You may make a point of order or another type of parliamentary request. Once you've made your selection, the third step is to click the button Submit My Request to Speak. Your request will be confirmed and immediately transmitted to the bishop. The entire process takes about 15 seconds, and all requests are recorded with the timestamp. A control system operating near the bishop's position will gather and tabulate all the requests. The bishop can monitor requests and recognize delegates fairly and efficiently. During normal debate, the presiding bishop may alternate between speakers who wish to speak in favor of a motion and delegates who wish to speak against a particular motion. Delegates who wish to raise a point of order or ask a question as a point of information can signal those requests. The bishop is able to recognize speakers based on the nature and priority of their requests. The digital speaker request system allows for the name of each delegate to be displayed publicly and includes a timer to keep track of how long each delegate has been speaking. The speaker request system will help the conference achieve a more efficient and orderly parliamentary debate process. Delegates will use electronic voting devices to cast their votes during the 2024 General Conference. During each business session, The leader of your district delegation will issue you a voting handset. This device is a secure two-way transceiver. You'll want to make sure that your device is turned on. When you see characters on the screen, the device is powered on and should stay on during the entire meeting session. There's a power button in the lower right corner. If you need to turn on your device at any time, just hold this button for 1 or 2 seconds. There will be an opportunity to practice voting during the meeting. The presiding bishop will provide verbal instructions and share some practice questions. The voting procedure is simple. When the presiding bishop calls for a vote, he or she will review the article or motion under consideration and indicate an electronic vote is about to occur. The presiding bishop will then indicate that the voting period has begun by saying, "Please vote now." If you want to vote yes, you'll press the number 1 on your device. If you want to vote no, you'll press the number 2 on your device. If you want to abstain, press the number 3 on your device. You'll have 60 seconds to vote. When you vote, the system will display a text-based confirmation message on your handset. If you voted yes, the display will say "Yes received." If you voted no, the display will say "No received." You can change your mind during the 60-second voting period. To do that, simply press another choice. 1 for yes, 2 for no, or 3 for abstain. The last selection you enter during the voting period will be recorded as your vote. If you have a problem with your handset, please contact the marshal for your district. They'll exchange your device. The system is very reliable, and that should not be necessary, but we're prepared.
Okay. Done.
During the
Yes, it
General
is.
Conference business,
It is done. Are there any questions on voting? Any questions that you might have?
Yes, Dr. Duhart. This is Reverend Dr. Darrell Burton, 7 Episcopal Region. The question I have is pertaining to the timestamp on the pad. Is 3 minutes, is that the allotted time that you have to ask your question and have dialogue on that question? Or can you say a little bit more about the 3 minutes, the time on the time pad?
The time pad, let me just say this, the chair of the session, whoever is chairing the session, will actually be overseeing that process. Okay. And so we saw 3 minutes on the screen, but they may allow more minutes. Basically, I believe you have 3 minutes maybe to put your information in off your badge and address what you're speaking to. Now, if they hold it to, if the chair decides to put a time limit on the time that each person can speak, then they will do so. They will announce that. I hope that helps.
It does help, and thank you
Okay.
very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Mhm. Any other questions? And what's so great about the speaker queue system um, is that it helps the business session run smoothly. Everything should be done decently and in order. And it's going to also be important for our delegates and alternates when you go to the iPad, when you go to use the speaker queue system, you would definitely need to know or an input that your topic that you want to address. And parliamentary procedure training will be held and right after this session. So it's really going to be important for us to use parliamentary procedure and ensure that we are definitely on point when we go to the iPad to input our information on what we would like to address. Any other questions? I am going to, let's see, push that here. I'm going to go back to my slideshow, and I will also give you the download link for the presentation in PowerPoint as well as PDF format. So let's go here, share my screen. Any questions? Going once?
Yes, Dr. Duhart, Paige Perry, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we have a set to say that you can only speak one time on a particular topic,
Mhm.
will the speaker queue system prevent you from going into or entering your number into the system again?
That's a good question. That is a good question. I will check with the vendor. I don't recall at the past general conferences where they were limited. I just can't recall. Um, but then there's also that wild card of persons not using the speaker queue system and just going to the mic as well. And so those are the kind of questions that we need to talk to the College of Bishops, the presiding bishops, and as well as Option Technologies. And we will definitely have an answer for you when we get to General Conference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? I see the chat here. Let's see. Is the Trinity Ballroom in the hotel or in the convention center? Um, Let me say this. Let me look at our program again and hold on for just a minute. And as I am looking at the program, let me just go to the business sessions. It says conference business session, Trinity Ballroom. When I went to did a site visit, I said the convention center. It may be the Trinity Ballroom. I believe we have our registrar on here, Clarice, Mrs. Chapman.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it the ballroom, considered the convention center?
The Trinity Ballroom is really where we're having all of our business sessions. So that is considered like the convention center.
Okay, okay. So the terms are interchangeable.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I had been putting on the Yapp app the convention center for advertising, and I'm thinking, okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're so
Any
welcome.
other questions? I'm trying to, I do want to recognize, thanks, Paige, Bishop C.K. Heath, 5th Episcopal District. Welcome to training. Just want to acknowledge
Hello,
you.
hello. I don't
Hello.
know if I can be heard.
Yes, you can. Yes, sir.
Well, Dr. Duhart, if I can take a brief moment, I just want to thank you and Dr. Campbell and others. I was just able to chime in after prayer and Bible study, but want to encourage all listeners to really get out and promote these listening sessions and training sessions we're having as we prepare for General Conference. And we're definitely grateful to hear the type of questions that prepare us as leaders and bishops to really think through how to offer our best service when we come to lead in our session. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And your colleague, Bishop Williams, is on as well. Yes, sir. Okay. So we have 12 minutes And now we've got a few minutes. I know we're waiting on um, the next session for parliamentary procedure. Let me just go ahead and share these last two slides that will have information on how you can download the presentation. Here is the first link, and I'll put it in the chat as well. In fact, let me just go ahead and do that now. Let's see, everyone. That's the PowerPoint presentation. And then let's see, come back out of here. And I'll give you the second slide here shortly. Let me just stop sharing and put this one here. That link to the PDF version. I'll put it in the chat as well. So those were the two slides that I was going to share, and I'll just go ahead and share it again. Move this out for just a second here. Now, what I'm going to do, we have 10 minutes left before the parliamentary procedure training begins. What I am going to do is show you in real time. Share this. Share this. Let me do that. Okay. There. Okay, let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. So this is the PowerPoint presentation that's in the chat. And then also, I have the PDF format that is in the chat as well. Now, let me escape from here and bring up, I think I'm still sharing. Good. I am going to bring up the Yapp app, and I'm going to update it and just show you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I done gone someplace I shouldn't be. Here we are. Okay, so this is my dashboard that I see. And this is why I go in and make edits to the Yapp app. Thus far, we've had 1,134 installations, which is really good. Okay, and it gives me analytics on the app views. 14,000, almost 15,000 views. The most popular page is the app information. I guess that's where all of your settings are at. And it tells me also the number of installs that has been held. In the editor section, this is where I go in and I can make changes to the Yapp app, and then I will publish that information. So with that said, I have a new video from the registrar that I need to add here, but I need to upload it to YouTube first. So I'll do that a little bit later. You'll see that advertised shortly. Let me find somewhere where I can go and add. Okay, so this is Dr. Panay Woods, our Chief Administrative Officer. This is her page. And I'm going to go in and I can edit it and provide some new information that she might have here. There's her team that's there. So let me just go in and let's see what I can do here. I need to go to her Facebook page and see if there's anything new to add.
Hello?
Yes,
Is it possible for you to put the PDF or the PowerPoint presentation in the,
it's in the chat.
I can't, my phone right now it won't open it. So,
Okay.
and once I'm out of this call, I don't think I can access anything.
Okay, you want to send me, can you put in the, okay, so you cannot access the chat? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Uh,
Can it be put in the no section in the Yap app?
The, no, I'm not putting it there because I really want people to attend the training. It's really important. So, hold on for just a minute. Let me just get this. If you will give me your email address, can you put that in the chat? Or you can't
yes.
get, okay, why don't you do that? Why don't we do that? Okay, so let me upload this image here. Let me update the Yap app. So easy. I'm just going to put the book of resolutions here. And I think I will put it there. I'll save this page. Then I'll publish the app. Would you like to publish it? Yes. So now, if you got your Yap app open, usually I just go back into it and it will indicate update available. An update for the 2026 CME General Conference is available. Do you want to load the newer version? I click on load update. And now if you go to from the CAO, know before you go to the bottom of the page and you'll see the book of resolution image. That's just how fast it updates. Were you able to get the update? Was everyone able to get the update?
Yes.
Finally, during the general conference, we will be using the app to add additional documents that's needed. I know that my extended report to the general conference will be on the app, and we will put announcements there, and then we will also be using Glue to send text messages out as necessary. So we'll be between the app and Glue, our text messaging, we should be able to reach our delegates and alternates and other, leaders, participants during the general conference. So indeed, technology is definitely important. It's going to be important for you to load your Yap app. And again, in another 2 weeks, uh, I will activate the attendee social feed and upload pics so our members can put their pictures out there, particularly being used at the general conference when you're there and you have some exciting pictures. We will have a place for that on the app. Are there any other questions?
Dr. Duhart,
Yes.
Carolyn Green.
Hello.
When they, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When they do the resolutions, will they be calling off the name of the whole resolutions or going by page number or what?
Let me recall here. Bishop Williams or Bishop Heath, I know you're on here, but generally when you mean when a resolution comes up that's
Yes,
going to be
ma'am.
on
When
the
a
floor,
resolution comes up, will they read the whole name, the page number?
they may read the name of the resolution and they may put the page number. In the past, I have had copy I have put all resolutions on a PowerPoint presentation and to bring on the screen if necessary. So yes, ma'am, they will be announced. You will be able to follow along. It will say, the name of the resolution, the page, and that way you can be able to keep up during the business
Okay.
session. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Duhart,
Yes, sir.
Sylvester Williams, I
Yes,
was
sir.
just acknowledging, I think I heard my name. I just stepped away from the computer, but to my understanding, you have answered correctly. We will try
Thank
to
you.
make sure that everybody is able to follow along with all of the resolutions as they are presented and voted on.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I am now looking for uh Dr. Campbell. Let's see. Let me give her a call. Hold on for just a minute, please.
Dr. Duhart, I'll give her a call. This is Betty. I'll give her a call. She's getting on now.
Thank you. She just called me. I'm waiting for
Okay.
her to come on. Thank you so very
Mhm.
much. Yes. And as she gonna just here see if Dr. Falk is on. Not. Okay. Okay. Just waiting for Dr. Campbell. Are you on? Yeah, I don't see her yet.
I'm trying to help her get on. She trying to
Okay.
put the number in.
Oh, okay. Is she on her phone or
She's trying to get it on
her
app
desktop,
this time.
laptop? Or okay, okay. What I can do is let me see if I can send her the link. I need to see if I can put it in the chat for you to give her. Hold on for just a minute.
I thought she would been on by noon. I guess she's having some problems with it.
Okay, let me
Okay, I'm on.
Oh,
She's
there you
on.
are. Good, good, good. Okay, I'll quit sharing.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will go back to sharing the slide. We are so grateful to have our president of the Connectional Lay Council on with us tonight to do part one of the two-part parliamentary procedure workshop. And she's none other than Dr. Barbara C. Campbell, again, president of the Connectional Lay Council, and also a member of the 6th Episcopal District, who is involved in not only the church, but the Democratic Convention, does, and oh, so many organizations. But she truly is a jewel for our church. Dr.
Yeah, I
Campbell,
hear you.
where
Thank you.
are you? Let me just find you here. Okay, let me go ahead and spotlight you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good. Greetings, everyone. I apologize for the delay. I was really trying to get my personal person who works on my slides, and then I had some technical difficulties. So we might not have them tonight, but we will definitely have them next week. I want to greet each of you in the name of the Lord and hope you all have had a good previous session. I'm now on my phone because of my computer, but I think we've all experienced that before. So I know you've opened up already with prayer, and you're ready to begin this session on parliamentary procedure. Am I correct?
You are correct. Your training agenda is up. Do you need it or?
I don't. I don't.
Okay, well, then
Yeah.
I will stop sharing.
Okay.
And we went right into training, but if you would like to have prayer, you're welcome.
I would. I need
Okay.
it.
All right. We have Bishop Heath on, Bishop Williams on.
Asking about my hearing. I had a hearing today.
I need everyone to mute,
Our meeting will be
please.
fun.
Okay, hold on for just a minute. Let me mute everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. And let me unmute you. Unmute yourself, Dr. Campbell. Bishop Williams or Bishop Heath, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Let us pray.
Okay.
Gracious God, once again, you have blessed us with this opportunity to come together as people who share in being called your children. We give you thanks for how you have watched over us and cared for us and have brought us to this point. We are grateful, O God, for your church. We are grateful that you allow us to be used as servants and as members of the church. We are grateful that you have chosen us to even serve your church as we come together in Dallas, as we prepare to make rules and goals and set the agenda for the future of the church. We ask for the dissension of your spirit, that you would be with us. We give you thanks for what we have heard in our first session about the speaker queue and about the Yapp app. And now, O God, open our minds, our hearts, that we might hear about the parliamentary procedures so that we can carry on your business in an orderly Christian fashion. I give you thanks for Dr. Barbara Campbell, for what
Amen.
she means to all of us personally, as well as for what she means for the church. Now,
Mm,
God, give her clarity of speech that
mm,
she might share what we need to know as we prepare for the General Conference. Give us open hearts and minds that we might receive. And Lord, we are not going to wait until the General Conference is over to say thank you for what you have done. We thank you now
Amen.
for what you are going to do.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus the Christ, we pray. Amen.
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 So beautiful. Thank
Bless
you.
you.
I
Bless you.
needed that, and I thank you for that prayer. And for those of you who are on the call tonight, you are here because you want to know more. And when you know more, you should do better. Sometimes we know and we don't do. So I want us to be attentive to what we're going to study tonight together and share tonight together so that we will be in order. The purpose of this meeting is really when we go to a business session so that we will be in order and that we can conduct the business in order. I apologize tonight, but the person that are doing my slides, she will have them ready next week. And if anyone wants a hard copy of tonight, you can just email me and I'll send it to you. So I'll go start right away. And Madam Duhart, how much time do I have? I'm going to work right in that time frame.
It's on you, Dr. Campbell. You got you can do an
Okay.
hour, however long it take, maybe
Okay.
75 minutes or so.
Now,
And I've also recorded this session.
okay, 60 minutes is good.
Okay.
All right. So I want to begin. I'll just share with you the outline tonight. We're going to do the certification of delegates, the establishment of a quorum, motions governing the meeting, parliamentary tips for a motion, procedure for handling a motion, review on the types of motion, standing committees, code references for the resolutions that we presented, questions and answers, and closing remarks. Let me begin by saying our credentials committee, that committee will certify or has certified those delegates who are duly elected according to the law of our church, and there are no challenges coming forth. When we meet and establish a quorum, I'm glad we have two bishops online tonight. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And and those of you who know things, we all know a little something. But if anybody wants to add something to what I've said, feel free to do so. But the procedure will be that after the Credentials Committee has made their reports to the duly elected appointed official, then each region will have a person appointed by the bishop to certify, to read the number of delegates certified, the total number of alternates certified, so that we can eventually know the voting strength of our delegation. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? Is that procedure going to be the same this time?
I'm looking at the chat, and if you have a question, you might want to either, everyone probably is muted, but you can unmute yourself or put your question in the chat, and I'll
Okay.
monitor it.
Dr.
And
Campbell,
yes.
this is my first time even as an alternate. Now, you
Okay.
said each region. What do you mean? I mean, I'm used to Episcopal districts.
Okay. Each region or annual conference, and I'll ask one of the bishops to comment. They will have designated a person. We used to say the leader of that delegation. When the roll is called, like for Georgia North, someone who has been appointed will stand and say Georgia North has 100 delegates and 10 alternates. The total strength of that delegation is 100 plus the 10 alternates. Bishops, is that correct? Is that how you're going
Took
to
me a
do it?
minute to unmute. Yes, you're right. We're going to
Okay.
have someone to do that.
Okay. So the person who was asking the question, that is how we would determine the quorum, the number of persons duly elected and voting. And that was a very good question. I'm glad to know you're at your first general conference. And your name, please?
Carolyn Green. I'm from Camden, Arkansas.
Okay.
I attend CME Temple Church in
Okay.
Camden.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad you're starting off by learning. Thank you. So then we'll have the number of delegates certified, the number of alternates who have been certified, and they will be respectfully submitted to the appointed committee, which may be the credentials committee.
Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, I received a message earlier saying I have a meeting. Sorry I was a bit late.
Okay. Okay. So after thank you for your and you can just put it in the chat so we'll move quickly. But thank you for your response.
All right, thank
Now
you.
then we'll have a motion. If we would say, Mr. Chairman, I move the adoption of the Credentials Committee report, and after adoption by the assembly or by the delegates, the listed delegates are officially certified and seated with voting privileges. That is how we establish our quorum. Okay? And there will be a designated section in the assembly for alternates to sit until you are duly seated, replacing a delegate for whatever reason it may be. All right. The next thing I want to share with you is I've just shared that we've established a quorum. We can't do business without a quorum. And that's according to Robert's Rule and according to our own discipline on page 34. We have to establish a quorum in order to do business. A quorum should be determined in order to call the meeting to order. And this is a very important point for our listeners. The quorum must be maintained throughout the meeting in order for the business to be conducted. So if we start off with 7:54, whatever that quorum is, it has to be maintained. Any member may ask the chair if a quorum is still present. So at any point, if you see that the room looks empty, or a number of delegates have left the assembly, you may just, without permission, a point of inquiry, Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, do we still have a quorum? Then the agenda will be approved by the steering committee will bring forth the agenda. During the business session, the opening of the meeting, we will establish those persons, the secretary, the assistant secretary, those persons who will assist in conducting and keeping a record of the meeting. If a parliamentary is appointed, they're parliamentarian. One thing that people don't understand is a parliamentarian never rules. Did anybody think that the parliamentarian ruled? The parliamentarian does not rule. The parliamentarian
advises
the chair, and the chair rules. Now, a good parliamentarian does it discreetly because the job of the parliamentarian is to keep order, to make sure we follow the rules, but also to make the chair look good. So that ruling may be still challenged, but the chair rules, and if the assembly doesn't agree, the chair can challenge, the body can challenge the chair. Another important point for our leadership, those presiding to know, is that if a person says this, if a motion is called for and a person says so move, it is not a motion and shall not be entertained by the chair. And a member of the delegation can say, Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, we did not hear a motion because so move is not a motion. Can you write that down, all of you? And so move has been used expediently just to get it out, I guess to get it on the floor. The chair says, I'll call for a motion, and somebody says, so move. Someone should say, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, that's not a motion. Or the chair, it would be better for the chair to say, I still need a motion. Can you state the motion? The motion has to be stated for the simple reason you need to know what you're voting on. When the motion is called, the members shall not say question. If the chair says all in favor of the question, are you ready? Don't say question because the question is the motion. When the chair calls for the question, the chair is saying it is time to vote. Or a member may call for the previous question, and the previous question just ends debate. Have you ever been at a meeting when we just kept talking about something forever, and you say, when are we going to vote? Well, you are in control. Motions control the meeting. When you're tired of hearing it, you simply say, I call for the previous question. That is the motion that is on the floor. And that motion is only to end debate. It is not to bring the question before the assembly. It is only to end debate. And it does require a 2/3 vote. If it passes, then we're ready to vote on the motion. If it does not pass, then we will continue to debate. Is that understood by everyone?
Yes, you do have a question now, Dr. Campbell. What
Okay.
happens if the quorum is no longer met?
Then you can no longer do business. That's just basically simple. You cannot do business. And first of all, I think when we first get there, and even when we're voted as a delegate, it should be clearly understood that the conference starts on this date, ends on that date, and that if you're running for a delegate, you have obligated yourself to stay in those sessions. If there's an illness or some unforeseen matter, then the alternate can be seated. But we have to maintain a quorum at all times. And I encourage you to read that in our own discipline, not just Robert's rule. Read it in our own discipline. And
Paige Perry has a question, as well as Calvin Patillo. Will you cover the procedure for a delegate to request to be replaced by an alternate?
yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Dr. Campbell.
Good evening.
This is a follow-up question to the quorum. Now, you stated that we could not do business, but can you continue the meeting as information only?
If it's not anything not official, like an announcement or something, but anything dealing with business, you cannot. Just like you can't start. You can talk about anything that's not official. That was a very good question.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking it.
Leola Hatcher from your 65th School District, is that 2/3 vote of the 274 you mentioned of the total number of delegates and alternates?
Of the 754.
754.
I think that's the number that I've been using for this meeting and for campaigning. Is 754. Excellent questions.
How does the alternate know to be replaced, that they're replacing a delegate?
They have to go to the leader of the delegation and let them know. And for what reason? You mean an alternate to be replaced or a delegate?
Sorry. How does the alternate know that he or she will replace a delegate?
Okay, the leader of the delegation should have a list of the alternates in the order they were elected. So we'd have a first alternate, second alternate, for lack of another word. So you would be seated in that order, and then that leader of the delegation needs to contact her Episcopal leader and let them know that what is going on. Okay?
Okay.
But the alternates have to stay in the room because you never know when you're needed. So you're going to have to be seated. And also, alternates will get everything that the delegate is getting. When the order is passed out the material, our discipline says that you would get the same material so that you can follow along and keep up. Okay? Another point
Dr. Campbell.
Is yes.
Dr. Campbell, with along with that question, Victoria Justice, 7th Episcopal, Charleston, Columbia District. Good evening. Wanted to, along with that, when a delegate is asking an alternate to come in, do they ask directly, or does that person of direction
The
or
leader of the
charge.
delegation.
The leader of the delegation will come to the alternate. Okay, very good.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
and you know, as the questions that you all are raising really deal with order. When we say Robert's Rule of Order, that's the order in which we do business. And sometimes the alternates are seated in the order of their election. They're elected or they're just seated. But the leaders should know that so that we are fair about when we replace a delegate with an alternate. Sometimes it's maybe for an hour. Sometimes it may just be because they don't feel well. But let's not go out of order when we seat people because that's happened too, and it creates a lot of problems. So the alternates should know the order that they have been elected, so they will actually know you're the first
Hello?
alternate, you're the
Very
second.
good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Real quick, if
Um,
you can get Donald to give us a date for the 6th,
Bermucia,
and we can start getting
Bermucia
let's say
Barnes
July.
and
The
Nyla
6th,
Barker.
then
No, I'm
how many
sorry.
days are you gonna do it?
Is it
It's
Nyla
2 weeks.
Barker?
So from the 6th through the
Have
17th,
questions.
6th
And I need
to
everyone to mute their phone, their
I know.
microphones, please. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone.
Okay, thank you, because I can't hear you.
Okay.
Hi,
Bermucia?
Hi, Dr. Cameron. It's Bamikia Barnes from the First. I was just, would you mind sharing your notes, your speaker notes, if you have any?
I have several. I do not mind. I don't have the PowerPoint tonight because the person that's making them for me, doing it for me, clerical, I'll have them next week. But if you send me your email, I'll just send it to you personally, okay?
Oh, thank you.
Not a problem. Now, as I move on, when a member is going to make a motion, and I may say this more than once, you never say, I make a motion. Write that down. You never say, I make a motion. Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, I make a motion. No, you always say, I move. Now, I know you've been saying I make a motion at home, in the annual conference, regional meeting, but the way to learn Robert's rule is to be consistent. When you get home, don't get relaxed. Remember that it's the same rule for the regional, for the district, for the local church. Remember, even at my local church meetings, I guess because I'm there and Betty's on the line, they know not to say, I make a motion. The correct motion is always, I move. Now, if a motion comes out of executive or a committee, it does not require a second. Does anyone know why? And I've said this answer before, so someone should have remembered. Why don't those motions require a second?
But they're coming from the committee.
Okay, but why? And that's half of it. Anybody else?
From an executive session, an executive session is usually for a specific purpose.
But someone makes the motion to approve or whatever, but it doesn't require a second. I'll just tell you why it doesn't require a second.
Because the committee already agreed to it, and it's more than one person.
Yeah. As long as someone else wants to hear it and they've heard it because they were in committee. That's why when you have a motion on the floor and a person makes the motion, you're still the maker of the motion, and they don't get a second, then the chair says the motion died. Now, if you don't want to hear the motion that someone is making, don't second it. It will die. Now, sometimes can you second the motion and not vote for it? If you second the motion, do you have to vote for it?
No.
No.
And what would be the reason?
You're just trying to, Madam Chair, you're just trying to put the motion before the body to be discussed.
Right. You're trying to help them out to get it on the floor. And while you second it, you might have wanted to support it, but then after you heard it, you thought you couldn't. So you do not have to vote for a motion just because you second it. I've been in a meeting and I've done that. I second the motion to get it on the floor so we could hear it. And when I didn't vote for it, Lord, people had a fit around me. But you do not have to. Now, when you're in an assembly, every response that you make in that delegated body should be directed to the chair, not another member of the body. And you should not debate on the floor with another member or another delegation. All responses should be directed to the chair. If the chair hears such debate going on, the chair should say, I'm going to have to rule you out of order. When people rule you out of order, don't get hurt. Don't have your feelings hurt. It's because you were out of order and we want to conduct the meeting in an orderly manner. Okay? All right, very good.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
On I want to just address that. The motion is ruled out of order. And also, would you address people who want to withdraw their motion from after they make a motion and the chair has announced that motion, it's been seconded and whatever, and then they get up and say, well, I withdraw my motion. Could you address that, please?
Well, once a motion is made, it no longer belongs to that person. It belongs to the body. Sometimes the chair may ask the person, if it's for whatever reason, the chair may, to save time, to stay in order, to move the agenda, they may ask that person. But a motion, once seconded, does not belong to the individual. And while we're on that point, there's no such thing as a friendly motion. A person makes a motion and they don't amend it, but then they ask the maker of the motion, would you accept a friendly amendment? They need to make the amendment on the floor at the mic because there's no such thing. Okay, moving on. Thank you. We're doing good.
Yes, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Suppose in your talking, before when they ask, are there any unreadiness? And someone comes in and there's a big to do about it. Can they withdraw their motion then, or do they just want to amend the motion?
I'm not really sure I understand your question, but a main motion can be amended. And if the body doesn't want the motion, they don't have to withdraw it. Just don't vote for it.
Okay.
Just don't vote for it. And I failed to say a couple of other things that since I'm doing two sessions. When the meeting begins, the senior bishop will be the first bishop to preside, and the bishops go in order of their election or their seniority. So you'll notice Bishop Reddick will start the meeting, and it goes all the way down to the last person that was elected. And then retired bishops can also preside, but it starts in that order. Okay,
Dr. Campbell?
Yes. I hear you.
Richard Doss from the Michigan, Indiana region. Could you repeat what you said a little earlier about why something that comes out of committee doesn't have to be seconded?
Okay, the only reason a motion needs a second is to determine if anybody else wants to hear it. That's the short part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that's why it dies. And let me also say this. If a person makes a motion and it's not seconded, but the chair carries the motion through, it's still valid. You can't come back after the motion passes and say, well, we didn't get a second because you acted on it. And that's according to Robert's rule also. Okay? So some of the key points, excuse me.
Follow-up question back to one of your original statements when you're getting ready to make the motion. Since we are at the general conference, are we supposed to use our Episcopal districts, or are we supposed to use our regions? Because that was a question earlier about regions and Episcopal districts. So would it be Barbara Campbell, 6th Episcopal District, or would it be Barbara Campbell, Georgia North Region?
Okay, I think it would be great. I think I covered this, and I'm glad you brought it. I'll cover it for the next session. When you go to the microphone and you want to make a motion or ask a question, you say, I would say, Barbara Campbell, 6th 6th Episcopal District, Georgia North Region. That's how we respond. And that gives the secretary and the staff a record of that because they keep a record of those who are making motions. So I would say 6th Episcopal District, Georgia North Region. Uh, and if we were speaking as a individual or as a caucus person, we don't do that too much at our general conferences, but there are caucuses that kind of direct the caucus on how they want you to vote on a particular question. And you have a little bit more weight if we were to say Barbara Campbell, 6th Episcopal District, Georgia North Region, speaking for the Georgia North Conference. In most cases, we are speaking as individuals, but that was a very good point, and it really did address, I think, a person who spoke previously about that. Okay. I wanted you all to make a note on page 34 in your discipline. You can just write it on your notes. I hope you wrote something to take notes with. But on page 34, paragraph 207, at all times when the General Conference is meeting, it should take a majority of the representatives of the annual conference to make a quorum. So it should take a majority of that 754 to conduct business, okay? If by a majority vote, the delegates present and voting under the quorum required deem it necessary to delegate for future consideration. See, when we start getting close to being out of time, we just rush through it. But we can delegate for future consideration some of the unfinished business. And I want you to recall also, there's no such thing in parliamentary as old business. It's always unfinished. Some people are still saying old business, okay? And it's also good that the tools that we bring would be our Bible, our discipline, our Robert's Rules of Order, the 12th edition, and our resolution book. When you are speaking for or against something, it carries more weight if you have a reference. It strengthens what you're saying because if we've already voted on that and that's law, it's not debatable. So if we go to the mic and say, Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, according to paragraph 207, we do not have a quorum. We do not have a majority of the representative of the annual conference president. So I move that we cannot continue to do business at this point. So if you think you're going to make a motion dealing with the law, have your reference ready. Come to the conference with your tools. Any statement about that? Okay. All right. Now, if you were in a committee, we're going to talk about that probably next week, how we organize the standing committees when we go into those sessions. We'll talk about that next week. I also want to say something. This is basically for leadership, whoever's presiding. Once protocol has been established, the next speaker or the chair should not say protocol has been established. Did you hear what I said? Once it's been established, you don't say protocol has been established. You just go on what you have to say, make your statement, okay? And basically, it will be the leadership that will be doing that, all right? Because very few, or a chairman or a standing committee or someone who has the floor on the dais, okay? And also, another point I wanted to make about dealing with the protocol or dealing with motions, nominations. If you're in a session and you nominate someone, like you're going to get organized in your section, you're going to elect your chairperson for that standing committee. Nominations do not require a second. It may be customary in all the church, but it does not require a second. And you do not have to say 3 times, are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? The chair can just entertain a motion to close the nomination if it appears that there are no people at the mic nominating someone, that nominations have just closed by virtue of the fact that people have not stood and made a reference to nominate someone. So you don't have to say that 3 times, and nominations do not require a second. Okay, how do we accomplish what we want to accomplish at the General Conference? We accomplish what we want to accomplish by motions. Now, one thing, some of this is just purely for the chair, because the chair is the only one who can control this. People should not go to the mic discussing something that has not been moved. A lot of times people go to the mic and they start talking about what they want, or they start making statements. Until we have a motion, we don't have deliberation or unreadiness. And it would be perfectly in order for the chair, I think, to be polite to say, Mrs. Smith, do you have a motion you want to make? And then we can discuss it. Because sometimes we discuss things and we don't have a motion on the floor. And I've been a witness to that. So it's okay to say, if you have a motion, make it. If not, I'm going to have to rule you out of order. Okay? On a main motion, when you want, I heard a question.
Yeah,
Dr. Grant.
Okay.
yes. Good evening. Very good session. You can go to the mic if you do not understand what the chair is requesting and you want clarification. And that has nothing to do with the motion, but before the motion is given. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about those motions, and you are correct.
Okay, thank you.
You are correct. You want to make sure you have clarity and understanding. Point of order, point of information, point of inquiry. We'll talk about that. So if you want to go and make a motion, you start off with your main motion, and you would say, Madam Chairman or Mr. Chairman, I what? I move. I move that. And basically try to make your motions in a positive, not a negative manner. Because until you vote to do something, you're not going to do it anyway. So make a motion in a positive, in the affirmative. If you want to change some of the wording that is being discussed, always get recognized by the chair. We don't want the General Conference to be a yelling match to be heard. And I think we have an order of procedure where we have monitors who are monitoring the mics, who will let the chair know what number, who came to the mic. And basically the order of most motions would be an affirmative, a negative. So you go back and forth, or you can say, I'm going to have 2 affirmative and 2 negative, so that you don't have just one side dominating the motion. And that's, again, recognized by the chair. So when you go to the mic, if you want to amend the motion, you can amend the motion by deletion, by insertion. I move that the motion be amended or adding something by adding the following words. Or if the motion is too big or too long, you can also amend the motion by breaking it down in parts. Sometimes the motion is real long and it's too much. So you can break it up, divide it up, and say, I would like to amend the motion by starting from this paragraph to that one. And then someone will make a second to get the other motion, okay? So after recognition, you can strike out words. You can put in words. You can delete words. You don't have to accept the main motion as presented, because some parts of it you may like and some parts you do not like. Now, if you amend it, we're going to have to vote on the amendment to see if anybody else agrees with you. If your amendment passes, then the main motion is amended with the amendment that you made. If your amendment fails, then we're back to the main motion. Okay? Sometimes the motion is so wordy, it needs more study or investigation. So you can say to the chair, I move that the question be referred to a committee. Sometimes we'll refer things to the finance committee if it involves the budget. So you can do that and have someone to second your motion. I always feel that if you're going to make a motion, have someone already to second it, especially if it's not a common motion, if it may be some debatable. You at microphone 2, and I normally would say, Mr. Chairman, I have a second at microphone 4 or 3. so you can make sure you have somebody beforehand. And whoever's seconding your motion, make sure they understand what your motion is. They're just not seconding something because they're your friend, but they actually understand the second that you're making. Okay. I spoke to you earlier about if a motion goes on too long, you go to the microphone and you move for the previous question, which is the motion, and that will close debate, and you can vote. We can also establish at the beginning of the meeting that we're going to limit debate, that we're going to have so many affirmative and so many opposed. We can do that so it doesn't go on forever. Sometimes we deliberate so long, we run out of time to what we're going to do. One of the things I want us to be cognizant of is that when the steering committee presents the order of the day, don't approve the steering committee's report if we're not covering the main points of the meeting. So that by day 4 or 5, we haven't covered a lot of the business. So you can amend the steering committee's report. You can say, Mr. Chairman, in order to conduct the business of this General Assembly or conduct the business of this General Conference, I would like to move this up in the steering committee's report. I think we need to hear from we got a number of standing committees, Finance Committee. Normally we have that last of the budget, but you can move it up so that we're not rushing through something at the end of the session. I think Bishop Lakey at his report last week when he was on said for delegates to remember that you control the session. You control what comes before the assembly or what comes before the body. So just think about it. If we've had 4 or 5 sermons, 2 or 3 choirs, 3 or 4 presentations, we're running out of time. That steering committee is supposed to do what? Steer us on the right track so that we cover the business of the assembly. Okay, I'm going to cover some motions with you. To this point, I believe everybody's on board. You got a good understanding?
I have a couple questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Um, if you can unmute your microphone. Okay, let's move on. I don't see that.
Okay. I want to talk about some motions. Which motions can interrupt a speaker? We will look at some of the motions that members can make by interrupting a speaker rather than having to wait to be recognized. These motions do not require a second, nor are they debatable. In some cases, the chair of the meeting decides what action is taken next. For a point of inquiry, the inquiry is answered. He can answer that or she can answer that. In other situations, a majority or 2/3 vote decides. Point of personal privilege. The point addresses a concern, not your personal opinion. I'm going to repeat that. Point of personal privilege. That's why it interrupts what's going on. You just go to the mic, it interrupts the speaker, does not require a second, it's not debatable. You go to the mic. Because sometimes you talk to each other about a personal privilege that you haven't even brought before the body or the chair. For example, the noise outside this room has become so great, I'm having trouble hearing. That's a point that the chair can address. Or Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, the temperature in this room is uncomfortable. You may interrupt the speaker because that not only addresses your concern, but it also addresses the concern of others. Because if you can't hear, someone else can hear. That's a point of personal privilege. The chair, you go to the mic, and I'm reversing back and forth because we have gender. We have female and male. So I may say madam or I may say Mr., but I am going back and forth. Mr. Chairman, I have a point of personal privilege I would like you to address. The chair simply says, state your point. Then the member says, it is too noisy, I can't hear. Then the chair decides what action to take. The chair may ask, I don't think we have sergeant at arms, but the chair may ask the orderlies to monitor the room, go to certain tables, say it's too noisy. That can be done. Point of order. think somebody addressed that earlier. It is obvious that the meeting is not following proper rules. For example, a motion is passed without the right kind of vote, or a member is breaking the rules of debate. You may interrupt the speaker and say, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, I rise to a point of order. And you don't really have to be recognized. You start speaking on the mic. The chair simply says, state your point. After you explain why you call a point of order, then the chair decides how to proceed. As we will have a parliamentarian at the meeting, the chair may consult with the parliamentarian to address that. Sometimes we pass a motion, it requires a majority vote, and we might not talk about that tonight, but we do have a sheet that I'm going to share with you, which will require 2/3, which require a majority. So sometimes, sometimes on which way the chair is leaning, or a person has gone to the microphone after we have closed debate. Those are point of order things that you can bring up as a duly elected delegate.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
To that question, to that point that you made, I'm listening to you and I'm questioning about the queue system or the voting queue system that we have. Even if you have a point of order, do you have to be registered in the queue box?
No, you just go. It interrupts the speaker if there were one.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Okay. Now, sometimes the vote may not go. Sometimes I reflect on some previous general conferences where the motion failed and a person who was not on the prevailing side went to the mic and called for a motion for reconsideration, to reconsider that motion that was just taken. If you are not on the affirmative side, you cannot call for that vote. You can't go up there because you lost. You can only go up there if you were on the prevailing side, and maybe you were close enough. So you want to reconsider it. There may be about 5 more hands that would go up, or 2, and you may win. But at no point, when a person goes to the mic and asks for a reconsideration of a previous motion, the chair needs to ask the question, were you on the prevailing side? Now, we're a big assembly, but I've been in larger assemblies with 10,000 people at the NEA. We're kind of small, and we can see people and we can hear people. So if you know that person was not on the prevailing side, you can say, Mr. Chairman, point of order, this person was not on the prevailing side. Now, it did happen like that where the motion failed, it came back on the floor, and then the motion supposedly passed. But you're going to have to be awake and astute and alert and pay attention. You can't have your phone on. You can't be texting. It's a high honor to be a delegate. And you need to be paying attention to what's going on. So if the motion, if you want to verify a motion, so we can vote by what? By saying a, aye, a nay. We can raise our hands. We can stand up. The chair needs to decide before that motion how we are going to vote. Sometimes we vote. The chair may be partial to a certain way, and they may say stand on some. Now, if we do a voice vote, and the people who voted loudest, the chair may say the motion carries, but you can say division. You don't say, I don't believe that motion passed. You don't need to get recognized. You just say division. And then the chair has to entertain that motion, that division that you just called for. So pay attention. And then it's generally a 2/3 vote or majority vote there. But sometimes it's just the people who speak real loud, but they didn't really win. They didn't really win. So you take a vote and it's decided by a 2/3 vote. And if it failed or prevailed, then we go back whichever way it did. If it passed, you go back and look at it and then to see if it was in the affirmative. but you can do that. Sometimes we've actually had to take a count to get the 2/3 vote. The leader of the delegation has to quickly go to the delegation and count and see that we get a 2/3 vote. Because that can be subjective too, with the chair just looking out there and deciding. But if it's so overwhelming that it's no debate about whether it failed or passed, then that's okay. Most motions do require you to be recognized by the chair, but I'm giving you a couple like point of order, personal privilege that you can just go and they're not debatable. Another member may want to amend the motion on the floor. It may be to suggest a wording or some type of change. Sometimes a person questions the motion and the chair may call you to the podium and say, let me answer your question for you. You simply say, well, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that, but now the motion belongs to the body. They can't just tell you one-on-one. We've got to take it to the body. And that's how we're going to do it. We've got about 6 minutes. So I'm going to talk about, and what we don't cover tonight, we will cover. I'd rather for you to get enough information that is so not overwhelming, even though you're going to probably get copies of this. Next time we'll have slides. But I want you to have enough that so when you walk away, my rule is, do you have a takeaway? And that you don't forget it.
Dr. Campbell, you have a question.
Okay. Is that
Dr. Campbell, can you also adjust your, yes, that is. Can you adjust your camera so they can see you?
Oh, okay. I got my phone and
there you are.
Look, I'm so busy going through this information. Thank you. I appreciate that. You want to move that?
Yes, it's been properly moved and seconded.
Okay. And that word seconded. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, if you want to,
Rhonda Brown had a question.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm Rhonda from the First Episcopal District, Memphis, Tennessee. And I've actually had a question for a while, and I've had a sidebar conversation with some friends trying to help me, but I'm stuck. I've been stuck, and I'm like the second grade kids I teach. I can't move beyond. I'm just sorry. But my question is, if a motion is not seconded, and that's the thing, and I'm thinking it typically will fail, but then there's some instances when it doesn't fail, and that's where I'm stuck. What are the instances when perhaps it will go on? Or can the chair move it, or
if it's not seconded, it died, and the chair doesn't need to hesitate. The chair just needs to say the next order of business.
It's just completely dead.
It's dead.
Okay.
And then there's a way sometimes later on, or maybe in another session, you can bring it back. But if it doesn't get a second, remember, if it doesn't get a second, it means nobody wants to hear it but you. And it may be the way you've worded it, may you phrase it. And I like the idea that you have some peers that you can consult or talk with to get the motion back on the floor. Okay? But it didn't fail because it wasn't a motion. It's not a motion until it's properly moved and seconded. And that's why the chair says that before he calls for the motion. The chair would say, the motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any unreadiness? Now, another thing that we did wrong, I hate to say wrong, but it was just wrong. You can't call for the question. That means you cannot call for the vote if there is anybody at the microphone saying unreadiness, unless you have closed debate. But if there's a person standing at that microphone, the chair can't just plow ahead and call for the question. The chair has to honor that. And then maybe someone would get up and say, I move the previous question. And then you need 2/3 votes to close it. But under no circumstances should you ever take a vote when there is unreadiness at the mic.
Keep your phone up.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell, this is Ina Barnes, 9th Episcopal District, Northern California region. Super quick question. When seconding a motion, do you have to restate the motion or can you simply state, I second the motion?
You don't have to restate it.
Thank you.
The chair has to restate it. The chair must restate the motion before it's voted on. Now, if the chair doesn't restate it, the chair has the option of saying, I'll ask the secretary to read the motion. But at all times, you should hear the motion before you vote. Because sometimes we might have debated so long you forgot, what are we voting on? What was the question again? So the chair should restate the motion. You don't have to do it as second. Now you can do this as a second. Well, after you second the motion, you can ask for permission to speak to the motion. Okay? If you're second, sometimes that adds a weight. A lot of organizations, they have a person come and support the motion by doing a second. So you say, I second the motion, and Mr. Chairman, I would like to speak to the motion when you call on me. And you could state why you're supporting the motion. Okay. Okay. It is.
Excuse me, Dr. Campbell. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is Lisa Dees from the Birmingham region. I have a question. You mentioned about having each motion has a second, but I'm trying to determine when a resolution, and I'm assuming that all resolutions have to go to a committee. So once they come out of the committee, the statement that the committee makes, they can make a motion, but then there's no second with their motion.
No, because it came out of committee. Somebody did want to hear.
I guess I'm confused with that because I thought committees were just primarily to make a recommendation to say that this is what we recommend, but it's not necessarily a set in stone motion unless somebody makes a motion to adopt the resolution. At that point, then I thought somebody should second that motion, whether it be another member of the committee or somebody on the floor. Because I just thought committees made recommendations but did not come out. And that recommendation is just that, a recommendation. People don't necessarily have to follow it.
Well, we're going to talk about for resolution. There are a number of codes that we use, like concurrence. I move concurrence. I move non-concurrence. I move concurrence with change. So that will come out of the committees, and that will be the discussion for next week. And very good question that you asked. You asked something before that. What did you say before that? Because I was going to say, you remember what your little preamble was before you asked that question?
When I was talking about the differences in when a motion has to have a second and when a motion doesn't have to have a second. I think that might have been what I was talking about because I got confused because we've been talking about motions and they have to have a second, but then with a committee, you don't have to have a second. So I thought everything that would be voted on anyway would be resolutions and it would be coming out of a committee. So when is there other motions?
Yeah, there are a number of motions. We're going to talk about the number of committees. And I still can't remember what I was going to say, but while we're talking, I want to ask all the delegates, if you're on a committee, and there are very few delegates who are not, because there are only so many committees. But if you're on a committee, when you have your caucus meeting, please share with people what your committee is so that people will know if I want to talk about finance, I'll go to Bessie Smith. If I want to talk about evangelism and spiritual life, let them know a connection of ministries. Let them know what committee you are on so that they can speak. And remember, if you are not assigned to a committee, you have the privilege of going to any committee except the Episcopal Committee, and you may voice but not vote. So make sure you're just not walking around if you don't have an assigned committee, but you have the right to go in any of those standing committees, and we'll talk about those codes. Okay, I want to thank everyone, and maybe you'll be ready next week, and we're going to cover the codes, and we're going to look at some resolutions, and we're going to look at motions and the governance of them, and we will have we'll have the PowerPoint up next week. I appreciate everybody. Dr. Duhart?
Thank you so very much, Dr. Campbell, for this certainly informative session. Thank you so much. A copy of this recorded video will be made available by tomorrow to all participants. I will make sure I have that available. We want to thank you for attending the training session on the parliamentary procedure and the previous one, the training on the General Conference Yapp app and electronic voting. Our next sessions will be held next Tuesday, June 2nd, same time. here. And we hope that these sessions are proving to be valuable to you. I do want to acknowledge my chair of the Department of Communication and Information Technology, who's on here, Bishop James B. Walker of the 7th Episcopal District. He's on. Bishop Walker, do you have any comments? He was very instrumental, him and Bishop Williams and Bishop Heath, the Senior Bishop Reddick, for making sure that this training occurred. Bishop Walker?
I'm not going to keep you longer than what you needed to be. I appreciated what I had a chance to hear of Dr. Campbell. Excellent presentation. And to you, Dr. Duhart, very thoughtful offering to the CME Church. I look forward to being here even earlier next week. Everything I heard, I found helpful. And Dr. Campbell, I appreciate the fact that God has gifted you as one who is trained in this area and can offer our church a lift in the area of parliamentary procedure. Thank you both, and thank all of you for coming, and thank you all for working with Yapp app. We're trying to move into this 21st century. God bless you, and
Thank you.
we're excited.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, indeed. In fact, as of today, we have 1,135 installs of the Yap app. I also uploaded the latest registration
Wow.
video from our registrar, Mrs. Clarice Chapman, so you all can take a look at that. It's on the Yap app and ready to go. So God bless you for attending this session. Thank you for staying for the first session, this training, as well as presented by Dr. Campbell. And hopefully we'll see you all next week, next Tuesday, June 2nd, for the final sessions on the Yap app. Well, for Tuesday, the final session for part 2 of the parliamentary procedure. And then we'll have one more training session on Sunday, June 7th for our latecomers. Okay, for the General Conference Yapp app. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day, evening, rest of the week, and see you next week.
Good night. Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
I missed that last one. She gonna put it in there.
All right. I'm ending the session now.